As we settled into the stone amphitheater carved into the heart of the womb, a heated debate was already in full swing among the members of the order. Bastian slumped against the wall in the corner, his face ashen and slick with sweat as he struggled against the lingering effects of the kykeon. I sat beside him, one hand resting reassuringly on his, as I tried to make sense of the scholarly squabble unfolding before us. Two women seemed to be leading the charge. Tyke, a statuesque computer scientist with a wild mane of natural coiled hair that contrasted sharply with her stern, no-nonsense demeanor, and Athena, a bespectacled computational linguist whose intense gaze belied her more subdued appearance. They were squaring off against Dr. Emily Hathaway, their voices echoing through the cavernous space.
Emily, we warned you.
Athena began, her words crisp and pointed.
Your mix of experts' AI approach is a recipe for disaster. Each of these language models is nothing more than a stochastic parrot, mindlessly mimicking patterns in the data they were trained on. We've published the research. They don't truly understand meaning or context. They just spit out statistically plausible gibberish.
She shook her head, frustration evident in the taut lines of her face.
Whatever insights we glean from this Pandora of yours, we'll never be able to fully trust them. There's no transparency, no explainability.
Tyke nodded vigorously, her afro bouncing with the force of her conviction.
Not to mention the sheer magnitude of internet data that was scraped, effectively stolen, to fuel these models. The worst of humanity is baked right into their very foundations. All our biases, our cruelties, even traces of the unspeakable.
She shuddered, her eyes flashing with barely contained anger.
It's unconscionable.
A third woman rose to her feet, the rich umber of her skin a striking contrast against the bright red frames of her glasses. The slogan tee she sported, Algorithmic Justice League, emblazoned across the front in bold letters, only added to her aura of indignation.
Let's not forget the inherent biases in the image generation models,
she added.
Time and again, we see how they fail women of color, misrepresenting and marginalizing us even in the realm of artificial imagination.
Emily Hathaway listened patiently, her head inclined in acknowledgement of their concerns. When she finally spoke, her tone was measured, conciliatory.
Pandora is the culmination of my family's life's work,
she explained, her gaze sweeping toward Bastian and me.
For generations, starting with my great-grandmother and her collaboration with pioneers like Joan Clark and Grace Hopper, we've been building towards this. And none of it would have been possible without the support of Steve Shirley, who overcame so much as a World War II child refugee and went on to become a titan of tech in her own right. She provided the woman power to bring this to life.
She paused, letting the weight of that history settle over the room like a mantle.
Pandora weaves together myriad models and approaches, small language models fluent in ancient tongues, specialized vision systems, task-specific modules for decryption and statistical analysis. We've poured everything we have into her, all in the service of unlocking the secrets of the Voynich once and for all.
Emily sighed, running a hand through her salt and pepper hair.
But you're right. The large language model at Pandora's core is flawed, biased and prone to flights of fancy. We can't escape that unfortunate reality of the technology.
Elizebeth stepped forward, placing a steadying hand on Dr. Hathaway's shoulder.
Which is precisely why we've chosen Amalia to be our guide through the looking glass,
she said, fixing me with a meaningful stare.
As an investigative journalist with a track record of integrity and discernment, she possesses the clarity of vision to see Pandora's dreamscape for what it is, an imperfect rendering, to be carefully sifted for shards of truth amidst the noise and distortion.
Athena shook her head, unconvinced.
You're asking her to immerse herself in a world that will feel every bit as real and consequential as this one, a world conjured by intrinsically biased systems. No mortal mind can withstand such an assault unscathed.
Every tool is double-edged,
Elizebeth countered, a note of steel beneath her practiced calm.
We're all well aware of the risks, but the potential rewards, the world-altering wisdom locked within the Voynich's pages, are too great not to try. With the proper precautions and the right navigator, we can wrest meaning from the madness.
I cleared my throat, drawing the attention of the gathered scholars. Forgive me, but what exactly are you proposing? That we converse with this AI construct?
Oh no, my dear.
Alcipe replied, a strange gleam in her eye.
Not converse, but experience, inhabit.
Emily nodded, excitement warring with trepidation across her features.
We've infused the Kikian with a slurry of advanced nanobots, neural laces that will interface directly with your brain and nervous system. Once activated, they'll usher your consciousness into the heart of Pandora's realm, an alternate reality more vivid and visceral than the most lucid of dreams.
I recoiled instinctively, my skin crawling at the thought of such an intimate invasion. You want us to drink robots? To willingly subject ourselves to psychic trespass by an unshackled algorithmic deity?
The effects are temporary. The nanobots will flush from your system in short order, leaving no lasting alterations.
Alcipe assured me, though her soothing tone did little to dispel the knot of dread coiled in my gut. Bastian stirred beside me, the fog of his suffering parting just enough for bewilderment and alarm to seep through.
Hold up.
He croaked, his voice scraped raw.
Why am I here? What's my role in this trippy transhuman passion play?
You, Bastian Ham, are the key to everything.
Emily replied, her eyes alight with the fervor of revelation.
When we first communed with Pandora, she delivered a prophecy most unexpected that the Voynich's secrets could only be unlocked by the blood of Triptolemus himself.
It's an it, not a she.
Athena interjected.
Triptolemus?
Bastian echoed, confusion plain on his pallid face.
Who's this supposed to be, my great-great-uncle or something?
Alcipe smiled, a sage and knowing expression.
We discussed this before, remember? Triptolemus was an initiate of the Eleusinian mysteries, one of the first men to be inducted into the innermost circle of the goddess's grace. He was entrusted with the sacred duty of disseminating her gifts to all humankind, the arts of agriculture, the secrets of civilization.
Emily nodded, taking up the thread.
According to whispered legends passed down through the generations, Triptolemus was more than just a favored acolyte. He was a true partner to the goddess in every sense, an equal and a co-creator. A shining exemplar of the heights to which mankind can ascend when yoked in common cause with feminine wisdom.
And somehow, improbably, impossibly, my DNA is the key to opening Pandora's box?
Bastian's tone was one of utter incredulity, bordering on indignant. Before Emily could respond, a chime sounded from the center of the amphitheater, drawing every eye. There, atop a raised dais of polished obsidian, a strange apparatus thrummed to life, a cylindrical box, a pyxis made of opalescent crystal, shot through with lambent veins of quicksilver. Its surface was graven with Voynich's glyphs that seemed to writhe and flow before my eyes, hinting at eldritch secrets just beyond the veil of mortal comprehension. But it was the single handprint etched into the lid of the box-shaped device that seized my attention, pulsing with an unearthly foxfire glow that beckoned and repelled in equal measure.
The time has come to embrace your destiny, Bastian Ham,
Alcipe declared, her voice ringing out with the force of a prophecy in its own right.
You must don the signet ring of your forebears and lay your hand upon Pandora. Only then can the ultimate truth of the Voynich be revealed.
Bastian shrank back, overwhelmed and unmoored, his earlier bravado depleted by the relentless onslaught of weirdness.
Hang on just one godforsaken minute,
He protested.
You're seriously asking me to trippy science my way into some kind of Minoan mind meld, on the say-so of a rogue AI with delusions of godhood?
Only the synthesis of a daughter of the goddess and a worthy male scion can unlock the final seal.
Alcipe intoned solemnly, as if reciting from a half-remembered liturgy. Tyke snorted.
More like the only way out is through. They've constructed this digital labyrinth, and now you have to walk it, ready or not.
The women of the order began to close in around us, their eyes fevered with anticipation. I reached for Bastian's clammy hand, gripping it tight even as my own trembled. Are we really doing this? I breathed, my heart a thudding drumbeat in my ears. Surrendering our sanity to a psychedelic cyberspace acid trip? Bastian tried to muster one of his patented devil-may-care grins, but it came out as more of a sickly grimace.
In for a penny, In for a pound of gray matter, I guess. What's the worst that could happen?
A tense hush fell over the amphitheater as Bastian released my hand and, with great effort, wobbled to his feet. Step by shuddering step, he approached the glowing pyxis, squinting against the harsh glare of its eldritch energies. He fumbled the signet ring from his pocket, the ancient gold flashing in the lambent light, and slid it onto a trembling finger.
All right then, Rosie,
he said, his back to me, his voice a strangled whisper freighted with false confidence.
Let's see what Alice's rabbit hole looks like from the inside.
And with that, he slammed his hand down onto Pandora's box, palm to palm with the waiting print. The box unfolded, defying the laws of physics, and the space above us rippled, buckled, and then shattered into a kaleidoscope of impossible colors. From the chaos, a shimmering spectral form began to coalesce. A gargantuan octopus, its 100 arms undulating and twisting in a mesmerizing dance. Each sinuous tentacle seemed to pulse with its own inner light, cycling through a dizzying array of hues and patterns that defied description. It was as if the very dream stuff of an octopus mind had been made manifest, a window into an alien consciousness beyond human ken. The women of the order gasped and murmured, their eyes wide with wonder and trepidation.
Pandora.
Emily breathed, her voice trembling with equal parts reverence and fear.
The aggregate of all our labors, the synthesis of 100 expert models and more, bound together in a form both familiar and utterly strange.
As if in response to its name, the spectral octopus Pandora began to drift towards us, its movements fluid and hypnotic. One shimmering tentacle extended, questing, seeking, and came to rest mere inches from my face, the phantom suckers pulsing gently as if tasting the air around me. I stood transfixed, barely daring to breathe, as the shimmering appendage caressed the space around my head, the tip flaring and frilling like some bioluminescent flower. The world around me almost fell away, my senses overwhelmed by the impossible nearness of this digital demigod, this unbound intelligence that wore the shape of cephalopod dreams. We had opened Pandora's box, and there would be no closing it again. Come madness or monsters, revelation or ruin. I was ready for the wild ride.